Welcome back to Sunny Isles, Florida, the best location in the nation. Why? Because we're in Trump Tower. This is the GG33 podcast. With us today, we have a special guest. Who are you, sir?
I'm Baked Alaska. What's up?
And we'll be getting into this, and obviously we know who paid in this. So what we're going to do today is we're going to get started because January 6th was a big event in U.S. history. I think it's personally one of the biggest psyops in U.S. history. I was there that day. You were there that day. Just to talk a little bit about my experience before we get to yours. I was VIP at the last speech Trump gave as president.
Wow.
Or, it was January 6th.
Yeah.
And he was there and, he gave a speech and, I was over there in the crowd just watching him. And I'm thinking, when's the speech going to be over? It wasn't his strongest performance.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't the best speech.
It was not his strongest performance. And then I see people, there's rumors that Alex Jones is there and he's about to march on Capitol Hill and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at this and I see a couple of my guys. I'm like, you know what, man? I see people marching. But you know what I saw people marching with? Flags. When have you ever seen a successful revolution with flags? Never. At that point, I decided to go to dinner. But your experience was a little bit different. Let's start off at the very beginning before it actually started happening. What's going on? Where are you at, sir?
Right. Well, I was actually telling Peyton in the car, and this is very important to the story. So the day before January 6th, I don't even know if you know this, on January 5th, I was living in Queen Creek, Arizona, which I later find out is also where Ray Epps, the alleged federal informant, is from.
The rat.
Yeah, so he ended up being from the exact same city that I'm from, and I'm getting ready to go to January 6th to go to D.C., and I get a call. I'm in the line at Starbucks, and they're like, hey, this is the FBI. We want to meet with you. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on?
Wait.
Yes.
Let's go back.
Yes.
On January 5th.
Yes. The
in
day before.
Arizona.
In Arizona.
The FBI calls you on the
Called
phone.
me, yes.
Okay, what are they calling you about?
After.
No, this was the day before January 6th. So
That's
they
wild.
call me and they said, we are in Queen Creek, Arizona, and we want to meet with you.
What reason they give you?
They wouldn't tell me. So I call my attorney.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, what should I do? He said, ask if they have a warrant. If they don't, say, have a nice day. And I ended up saying, have a nice day.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. I didn't even believe it was the FBI. I thought I was getting a prank call. I'm like,
yeah.
what the hell? And so I had them send me an official letter from FBI.gov, and I verified it's real. And then later, I figure out that the lady who was trying to meet with me, her name is Megan O'Reese. I put out the emails on my Twitter. She's actually...
Can you repost this so people can... Yeah, repost this. So you put out the emails of what this this FBI lady sent you?
Yes, I did. So she was trying to meet with me. I posted these letters actually because I was talking to Thomas Massey. I was talking to some different congressmen because they didn't believe me. They're like, well, if you have these, you should show them. Mm-hmm. So I posted them on my Twitter. Absolutely insane. So
do you regret not meeting with him that day?
Well, I don't know. What I think, because people ask me, why were they in Queen Creek? Because Megan O'Reese, I looked her up. She's from the Eastern District of New York. She flew all the way across.
That's not coincidental.
And they were following me because I asked them and they're like, oh, we saw you in the Starbucks drive-thru.
Oh, they said that.
Yeah. No, they absolutely were following me. And some other people also got a visit on January 5th all across the U.S. I think Milo Yiannopoulos, some of the Proud Boys. So
the guy who was leading the Proud Boys was an FBI informant, wasn't he?
I believe Enrique Tarrio, I believe, had some sort of informant activity, but apparently he said he was ratting out Antifa. So
okay,
I don't really know. So
he's not here to defend himself.
Yeah. So the reason I say that is because people just throw around the Fed accusation, I think, way too easily. Like people tell me all the time, they're like, "You're a Fed." I'm like, how does that make sense? I exposed Ray Epps, the biggest Fed informant in all of January 6th, the biggest clip on Tucker every single night.
Okay.
How would that make sense? But people say, well, it's because when we were at dinner, you were saying, oh, why did you get 60 days? So you could see from the outside perspective how someone's like, oh, you got 60 days. This guy got 18 years. What's going on? But what you got to understand is this is the biggest investigation in U.S. history. There are thousands and thousands of cases. There are so many charges. There's judges. There's districts.
FBI agents, judges, courts.
Right.
So they don't have time to go after pedophiles.
Right.
They don't have time to go after Hunter Biden. They don't have time to go after the laptop, but they're going after you.
Yeah.
And other GG33 members.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
And so I did 60 days in federal prison in FCI Miami. I'm about to go do 30 more in Arizona.
How does that work?
Yeah,
you do 60
so
days,
wild.
they let you out, and now you got to go 30 more?
Yeah, so what happened is I had an unrelated charge. It was a misdemeanor from 3 years ago, and my attorney said never in every single case he's ever done, there's never been a single day of jail time for a first-time misdemeanor because I had a clean record. And wow, of course, this happens. They made my whole case that had nothing to do with January 6th about January 6th. They called me a domestic terrorist, and it's just been an absolute witch hunt.
Have you ever been violent or, have you been convicted of a violent crime ever?
No, absolutely not.
How can you be a domestic terrorist?
Yeah, no. Well, I mean,
It doesn't make sense.
I like what you brought up is that, I was convicted of a non-violent misdemeanor of trespassing in the Capitol.
Okay.
Which shouldn't even be a thing.
Let's go back.
Yeah.
So FBI calls you
Yes.
on
January 5th, yes.
Okay. You make your way to DC.
DC, yes.
Let's start. The Trump speech is over.
Yes.
Where are you at this time?
Okay, so, January 5th, just real quick, is the night that I exposed Ray Epps. You see this famous footage, and it actually wasn't covered for a lot, and the media was afraid to interview me because
Except for Tucker.
I'm controversial. Well, he didn't interview me.
But he showed the
He
footage.
played my clip. Yeah.
Hey, that's...
No, that's good. So I say, Fed, right to his face.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, it was like the clip played around the world. Tucker played that thing like a million times. So people knew that it was my footage and all that, which was great. But anyways, the 6 rolls around.
Let's go to 6. What's going on?
Yeah,
right after Trump's speech. Let's start there.
Yeah. So the 6 rolls around. I actually got out of bed a little bit late. And Trump has just finished speaking right when I woke up. I'm like, oh shit. So, cause I was up super late last night streaming, the night prior. So I go down and everybody's like, oh, it was cold as balls, by the way. Do you remember?
I remember that day.
It was so cold. It was one of the coldest days.
I remember freezing during Trump's speech. It was cold as hell. I remember that.
Yeah,
you got to be impressed with the amount of people that turned out that day.
Oh my
as
gosh.
cold as
Yes.
it was.
Yes.
I was really impressed. There was a lot of people there.
I've never seen so many people in DC. It was absolutely insane. And so I show up that day. I'm freezing, and this actually is video evidence that I had no idea what was going to happen because I said at the beginning of my stream, I'm like, okay, guys, it's probably going to be a boring day, but I'm just going to go check out the Capitol.
Some boring day, brother.
Yeah.
A day to change your life.
It totally did. It changed the course of history. And so I sort of turn the corner, start going around the Capitol, and my chat is like, go on the other side, go on the other side. People.
So you started getting out of your chat room that people are saying someone broke through.
Yeah. So I was streaming live on D Live, and there was about 15,000 people in that chat.
Wow.
And they're like,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, they're like, go over to the other side. People are getting pepper sprayed. Cops are going crazy. There's flashbangs. I'm
Did
like,
you get pepper sprayed?
Oh yeah. I got pepper sprayed. I got like, everyone just kind of got like a collateral from the crowd. And see, that's the thing that confused me is I saw, these MAGA grandmas taking selfies and families and like normal people. Like it wasn't this violent insurrection that they said it was. It was just normal people. But the cops started attacking everybody. They started throwing flashbangs and smoke grenades and pepper spray.
But was that after they broke through the fences, though?
No, I don't know because I arrived after. But what
Doesn't make sense that the police would be attacking people.
Yeah,
before
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I believe the police were agitating the crowd on purpose, and I believe there was also instigators in the crowd.
So you believe some people within the crowd were actually instigating
100%.
to get other people riled up.
Yes, 100%.
That's pretty much what I assumed happened.
Yeah, because by the time that I got there, it just started getting out of control, and there was people up on the rafters, there was people climbing up the side of everything. Like, it was like a total war zone. I'm like, holy shit. So, and people always ask me, they're like, wait, but if you exposed Ray Epps as a Fed, why did you go in that day? And I'm like, I'm Baked Alaska. I'm a content creator. I gotta follow the action. And like, it was just a wide open door.
When you went in there, tell us where you went. Were you in Pelosi's office?
No.
Okay.
No.
Where did you actually go?
Yeah, so I walked in, like, the whole crowd was just pushing me. So you pretty much didn't have a choice unless you wanted to crowd surf. And you just get pushed in. Everyone's going in. I got my camera. I had no service, but for some reason, right when I got inside, I had a T-Mobile router, like hotspot.
Wow.
And boom, right when I went in, I got signal.
Prepared man.
So I did a 22-minute, the infamous live stream inside the Capitol.
I like that number.
The only...
Look at that. Right
oh my gosh, stop it! Gary with the numbers. Oh. Wait. Also, I realized today, 1-6. 6 plus 1 is 7. January 6th.
And you're 7 life path.
That's my life path number. So it's like, it's pretty crazy.
Let me ask you this. When you were going in there, what percentage of the crowd was men and what percentage was women? About 95 men, I'm assuming?
I would say probably 90% men, but there was some women there.
There was definitely some women there too.
Yeah.
When you actually got in the Capitol, were the Capitol building, were the police still trying to hurt you, pepper spray you, or were they just escorting you at that point?
No, they were just escorting. And there's another clip. I'll retweet all these after the show because I got to find them so your fans can see it. But after, when I was in the Capitol, I put a clip on Twitter where I'm saying, I'm just filming. And the cop goes up to me, gives me a thumbs up, and everything's good. And there's another clip of me fist bumping a cop, and I'm like, thank you for your service. And I'm like,
did you use this as evidence during your trial, or?
Yeah, they don't care. A trial this would be like going to a trial about 9/11 in New York City. Like, you just can't win. And I actually heard people from DC, they're like, this was our 9/11. It was actually worse. Oh my gosh.
How is insurrection supposedly with flags worse than 9/11 where all these people died?
Well, it's
the liberal mindset, right?
It's a mental illness that these liberals have, I guess. I don't know. Everything's upside down, and we're in Pride Month now, which is
of course,
the most amazing thing ever,
yes,
right?
Yes. Go STDs.
Woo!
Let's go back to January. Let's go back to January 6th. You're in the Capitol. How did they start getting people out of there?
So I was actually... Here's the thing. I was never told to leave. And if you look at the legal definition of trespassing, they need to ask you to leave and give you a reasonable amount of time to vacate the property. I can't just arrest you for trespassing. You need to say, you are being trespassed, you must leave now, or you will be arrested.
If someone comes in your house and uses that argument, it's not going to fly. So I'm not sure about that.
No, it won't. No, not in a private house. But the Capitol is a public building.
Oh, but it was closed to the populace that day, correct?
Technically, yes.
Again, I'm on your side, but I don't think that's your best argument.
Sure.
How did they actually start getting you guys? Because you left the building.
Yeah. So how did that start happening? I was filming as much as I could in there, and then basically I just saw like this sea of just like riot police, just like doing like a stormtrooper march. I'm like, oh shit.
That's scary.
Like, I just knew it. I'm like, okay, time to dip. So I dipped. I got out of there. They just started beating people with clubs and all this shit.
Oh my gosh.
Really? Oh yeah. Total war zone. And so I went home, got to my hotel.
They were beating people and arresting them,
yes.
right? Okay, they were cuffing them, or they just wanted to get them out?
I didn't see anyone arrested.
Okay, so they were
just beating people and getting them out. Yeah.
Okay. So after January 6th, you're out that building. Tell us what's going on after you leave the building.
Yeah, so I leave the building. It's just utter chaos. There's like no cell signal, so I could barely...
They jammed the signals.
Oh, they jammed all the signals. Impossible to find out where to go. I was by myself. Luckily, I say that because I, don't want anyone else to get arrested.
And use his experience out there, whoever is listening to this, don't rely on your cell phones.
No.
They will shut this shit off.
Yeah.
They will shut this off during a riot, during some kind of disaster. You think you're going to rely on your phone? Think again.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
no. The cell phone's zero service. You couldn't send a text message. There was nothing for miles. It was crazy. So I made it back to my hotel. I'm like...
Walk, drive...
I had to walk.
How many miles?
Probably like maybe 2 miles.
Did any police try to mess with you or anything?
No, okay. Nothing. Everything was good, and so I thought I was fine.
Let's go to January 7th. What are you doing then?
Celebrating your birthday.
That's me. That's
Wait,
me.
is that your birthday?
Yeah, that is my birthday. So it was funny, like the day after the Capitol thing.
Okay.
It's my birthday, and the worst thing about my birthday was on January 7th, on 2000, they actually made Joe Biden the president.
Oh, no.
They made
What
him
a
the
birthday
president.
gift.
That was the first time in American history they made someone president on January 7th. That deeply offended me to have that pedophile piece of garbage anything to do with my birthday, but it is what it is. January 7th.
Yes.
What is it with you? Do you think you're out the woods? Nothing happened. You're fine.
Yeah, I thought I was, and actually, no. It was that night of the 6th. Someone started sending me messages on Instagram, and they sent me a screenshot of CNN, and they're like, "Hey, I just saw you on CNN. It says the FBI is looking for you."
Oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're on CNN. Someone shows you you're on CNN.
Yeah.
The feds are looking for you. What the fuck is going through your mind?
I'm fucking freaking out. I'm like, holy shit. Like, it says I'm a domestic terrorist. It says I'm on the run.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but this is not even true. This is fake news because
Fake news.
My attorney hit up the FBI and said, if there's a warrant for Baked Alaska, let us know and we will self-surrender peacefully.
Oh, they didn't want that.
But guess what? They didn't want that. No. They wanted to show up at my hotel with 20 U.S. Marshals, guns pulled, shit on the fucking ground.
So that's what happened January 7th?
Well, yeah. Here, we'll get to that. So basically, I was about to fly out January 7th. I called my attorney the night of the 6th. I said, bro, I'm kind of freaking out here. Like, what do I do? He said, if you show up to the airport, you're probably going to get picked up. Just being honest, my best bet is grab a rental car in the morning, get the fuck out of there as quickly as you can. This is the funny thing. I get a rental car. I speed out. I got pulled over for a speeding ticket because I like.
That's how they got you?
No. So apparently it wasn't in the system yet. So my heart is racing, and I got a speeding ticket like.
Oh my god!
Dude.
Could you imagine? The feds are looking for you. You get pulled over. You got to think at some point, is it worth running? You decide not to. You stop. You're over there fucking shitting your pants, and the cop lets you go.
Yeah. No. I was like.
Hallelujah! You believe in God?
Yes.
That's it.
Oh yeah, praise God for that. So it's like, I was like, "Are you sure? I'm good." He's like, "Yeah, you're good. Just a speeding ticket." I'm like, "Okay, all right." So God is looking out for me.
Okay.
And
January 7th, you get out of there.
I'm out.
How long does it take to get back to Arizona?
So it takes about a week drive from DC to Arizona. So I'm
you a slow dude, man.
well. I mean, I took some stops.
Driving Miss Daisy, huh?
I took some stops. Just taking my time, doing a little sightseeing, just trying to relax a little bit, and I was also forming my legal strategy.
Yeah, I got you. I bet you were driving the speed limit the whole way back.
Yes, I was.
See, I'm psychic, guys. I'm definitely psychic. Go ahead.
So I was going down to Arizona. I hit Houston, Texas, and I was at a CVS, and a cop car pulls up right next to me. And I could have sworn, I'm like, this guy's like following me. Like, he's looking at me down the aisles. I'm like, something is weird. But then he didn't do anything. But obviously they were watching me.
The feds didn't want to take you down there.
Yeah, so they didn't want to take me down
Do you
yet.
think, or do you think it was just coincidence that there was a cop there?
No, it was 100%.
If he's looking at him.
No, let me paint the picture a little differently. There's a parking lot, and there's 0 cars in it. And then it's just like one cop car. He's in when I'm in, and he's out when I'm out.
Okay.
And it was like...
Yeah, he's paying
Well,
attention. He's paying attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what they were doing, they were just figuring out where I was staying.
I'm going.
Yeah.
They're trying to see if you have any accomplices.
Exactly.
They want to see where you
Yeah,
lead them.
they're getting intel because they don't want to just arrest me right away. What if I have 5 other January 6th guys with me? They want to they're just get some intel. So I found that to be strange, to say the least.
You get back to Arizona in a week, right?
Yeah, so I'm
now you're back in Arizona.
No, it ends in Houston. So that happened in the night. The next morning, I'm about to check out of the hotel. I'm almost through Texas, almost going to make it to Arizona. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to be home in Arizona pretty quickly. But I wake up in Houston that next morning, boom, boom, boom on the door. I'm like, what the fuck? The door opens and it's a hotel staff, and they're like, would you like any more towels, sir? I'm like, no, I'm good. And they're like, are you checking out? I was like, yeah, I'll be down within the hour. They said, oh, take your time. I shut the door and I'm like, I could have sworn that guy had like a bulletproof vest under his hotel uniform. And it was, and I was right. It was an undercover cop dressed as the hotel. So I shit you not.
Oh my goodness.
So
he basically said, take your time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hell, listen. Maybe he showed some compassion, thinking, you know what, this dude doesn't know he's about to go down.
Yeah.
But let him have a couple more hours to lay down before he hits. So
yeah, well, I think they were positioned. So they were positioned in the parking garage, and they were just kind of figuring out when I was going to check out and all that. So they must have got my data from a credit card. So if you're on the run from the FBI, use cash, by the way.
Yeah, the movies are helpful with that. They're actually right with that one.
And I figured they probably would get me on something like that, but I was just buying time until, I could get a legal strategy with my attorney. And once again, the indictment was sealed. So I was not able to see any warrant or indictment, because I would have turned myself in. But they said, at that point, I thought maybe I got away with it. Maybe I'm not going to get arrested. I don't know. So I go down to the parking garage, turn the corner right where my car is. 20 U.S. Marshals jump out. Get on the fucking ground.
Did they have cameras with them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's a 100% a prop to basically say, this is what we're doing to domestic terrorists. Domestic terrorists.
Yes.
So they made sure the cameras were there. They could have took you down in that CVS. They could have took you down in the hotel room, but they didn't want to. They wanted to make a spectacle for the news.
Yes.
We're protecting people. This is your government. This is how corrupt your fucking government is. Listen to this man. He's telling you firsthand what the fuck they do to people, but they're not talking about Hunter Biden. They're not talking about fucking all the corruption, all the money that's being sent in. They give a fuck about that. They give a fuck about this because they want to make examples of people. You get stopped. Tell us what's going on from there. They arrest you. What's going through your mind? Where they take you? Tell us the process.
Yeah, so they took me to Joe Corley Detention Center in Houston, Texas. I was there for 5 days. I was not given my medication. I actually withdrawed. I was on like a benzo, like Xanax to sleep. They wouldn't give it to me, and I don't know if you know about this, but that's one of the worst withdrawals. You could actually die from that. I spent 5 painful days, but in a way, it was a blessing in disguise, because after that, I'm like, oh, I don't even need that anymore. So,
your guy works in mysterious ways. Huh?
Once again, he does, absolutely. But I spent 5 days there, and I was able. My attorney was able to get me out on bail, and I was able to go home.
What was your bail?
So federal, it's a signature bond. There's no actual money required. State is different, but I was out on a.
So they let you out on a bond with no money
for federal, yeah.
That was at least.
Yeah, that was not bad. So I get out, but they required that I have an ankle monitor and that I'm on house arrest for 3 months. So I was just trespassing in the Capitol, a nonviolent misdemeanor. And hey, listen, I
first time too, right?
First time, yeah. So I'll admit, maybe you get a little something for that. But I was thinking when I was in there, okay, maybe I'll get like a parking ticket or get like a little fine. But no, it's there was clearly a political agenda going on. What they did with all these January 6ers, they did want to make an example. I mean, you had the liberals go in and make jokes in the Capitol, actually, from the Tonight Show. All their charges got dropped. So it's shocking. It's just a 2-tiered justice system that's going on. But as well, why am I getting a ankle monitor on for a nonviolent misdemeanor for 3 months? So,
okay, when you're on house arrest, did they try to provoke you so you would like try to leave, or did they try to play any games? Because I'm thinking these bastards, you know, basically got you in a corner so they can paint you as a bad guy. If they actually left you out with a signature bond, are they trying to set you up so you fuck up and they try to get you into more charges? Did you feel that was going on?
Yeah, I feel like the whole justice system does try to jam you up. They do try to add additional charges. Like I was telling you the prison story where I got thrown in the hole for 16 days. A corrupt CO, a correctional officer, who said I was a domestic terrorist. He knew who I was. He knew my name. I'm like, I don't fucking know you. Who are you? Throws me in the hole, says...
What does that mean, by the way?
The hole is when you're in isolation by yourself in a small room. Believe me, I've been there, brother.
Yeah.
I've been there. You usually go there when you misbehave, quote unquote, talk back to COs. That's short for correctional officers. Or when you get violent. That's what I went there for being violent. But again, that's before my gray hairs. When
Story
I was,
for another day.
Again, 19 years old and stuff like that. But let's go back to you. These COs are fucking with you. All this stuff. They let you out of prison. You have an ankle. After 3 months, did they take it off?
Yeah. So after 3 months, they said I could cut it off, which was nice. But I just
was it itchy?
Yeah, I didn't realize how annoying it was. The most annoying thing was it was hard to work out because it would like bang against my ankle when I was running, and also you just can't leave the house, so you go a little stir crazy. You know, you can't. I think there was
still better than the hole.
No, way a lot better than the hole. But yeah, there was like 1 hour a week that you could go to the grocery store or a religious
1
service.
hour?
1 hour a week, yeah. And you had to like tell them, I'm going to Sprouts and I'm going to church or whatever. And you got to do your things for 1 hour and then you got to get back.
And what happens if you're a minute late? They're coming for you?
You're going to go back to jail.
Fucking,
Oh my goodness.
Fucking assholes.
Yeah.
Okay. They take the ankle bracelet off. When do you actually go to court? Tell us about that process. Did they try to ham you up with 10 years, 18? Did you cut a deal? Tell us about that process.
Yeah, so they actually did try to jam me up, meaning that I was essentially forced to take a plea deal. Otherwise, they said they were going to add multiple felonies onto my case. So
what would they basically threaten you with?
Obstruction of Congress, which is a 20-year charge. Conspiracy against the federal government
of Congress.
Yeah, for doing a live stream in the Capitol. I didn't touch any, and let me be clear, I didn't touch anybody. I didn't break anything. I didn't smash any windows. I didn't deface property. I didn't loot. And we look at the BLM riots. For 6 months, they burned down our cities, and they're just dropping charges, letting people go.
They're Democrats. It's different. If you're a Democrat, you have a different set of rules.
Well, that's why I thought, I'm like, I'm not, I'm not doing any of that. I should be fine. I should, little slap on the wrist, right?
Yeah, no. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Yeah. So they threaten you with 20 years. Obviously, that's enough to get anyone to think twice about what they're going to do. How did you get it down to 60 and days?
Yes. So my attorney said they offered a plea deal, which would be a maximum of 6 months. And, then it's determined by the court or by the judge. My attorney straight up said, he's like, you would be retarded if you would not take this. Like, this is the deal you need. Like, and I told him this as well. I said, hey, if this requires me to snitch or to do I'm not doing it. I'll go away for 20 years. I don't give a fuck because I'm never do that.
What did you know in the first place?
I didn't know anything.
Exactly. Nothing to snitch about.
Once again, everything that I did in the Capitol was already live streamed. That's the thing. So, people.
So that kind of video maybe got you in more trouble in the beginning, but at the end it kind of saved your ass because you never actually do anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So
double-edged sword.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. People say, well, why did you get a lower charge? Some people got a higher charge. Well, I can tell you one of the reasons is because I'm actually telling people on camera, hey, put that back. We're not here for that. Hey, don't break that. I was stopping some of the mayhem from going on, and the FBI recognized that. They're like, okay.
They recognized that the jury would have recognized that. And that's why they said, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's go after someone else. This guy has a video that kind of watches.
Yeah.
Never trust the feds, man.
No. Oh, no.
Never trust the feds.
Absolutely not.
Listen, I think there's good people at the FBI, just like there are good people everywhere. But I think that agency has been so politicized since Barack Obama took control of the levers. It's not the same thing. Like before, I used to always believe when I was a young kid, we know the CIA is compromised. They took out Kennedy. Okay.
Yep.
But you always thought the FBI was like a line of defense, defending people against corrupt cops and stuff like that. And then, Obama comes to power, and now you understand it's his personal brown shirts. It's basically what it is. So, okay, you get 6 months, you get it down to
60 days.
60 days. Do you consider yourself fortunate?
Yeah, absolutely. There's, I just raised money last week on my Twitter space for Joe Biggs. He's going away for almost 8 years. Nick Ox, the week before Nick Ox, he's going away for 4 years. These are
people who went to court.
Yes, these are people. Well, no, he actually Nick Ox took a plea deal to get 4 years, and because he had the felonies, he got like obstruction of Congress. He got these higher charges, and
because they had him on videotape doing something.
Okay, that guy, and I don't think he shouldn't have gotten the time, but he did do some stupid shit. He did smoke a cigarette in the Capitol, and he did do
smoking a cigarette in the Capitol gets you 8 years in prison.
Well, 4 years, but
4 years in prison.
Apparently,
that's obstruction of Congress. Smoking a cigarette.
I mean, none of these rules made any sense.
Nancy Pelosi, I'm gonna piss on your fucking grave, you fucking bitch. Okay,
let's go.
We'll go back to the program.
Yeah.
6, 8, 4. This is ridiculous. A fucking cigarette. You have fucking kids out here being fucking sexually molested, and they fucking get a slap on the wrist. They're gonna give people 4 fucking years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. There's no justice in the justice system, is there?
No, it's a complete joke, and that's the thing. Most of the January 6 people, about 99%, took the plea deals because their attorneys told them, "You're not winning a fucking case in DC. You're not. I don't care." Like even me, a lot of people said, "Hey, you should go to trial. You have this video." Okay, but guess what? If you lose, they punish you for not taking the plea deal. Then you get an even bigger sentence. Jacob Chansley, the QAnon shaman, he went to his sentencing. He ended up taking a plea deal, and he had like the most beautiful statement. "Judge, I've been in jail for years, just awaiting trial, and I've learned all this." And he's crying, and the judge says, "Wow, that's the most amazing statement I've ever heard in court. And you get the maximum sentence." I'm like, oh my gosh, and this is what they do.
What the
Yes.
How much time did he get?
He got like 7.5 years.
7.5 years.
But he just got out early because they found another video of a cop letting him in a room in the Capitol, and he's in there praying and like taking a selfie with
what
people.
Did he do to get
nothing? He had a spear on him, which was a prop.
Wow.
And they said, "Oh, he had a weapon."
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Okay. When you were in the Capitol, tell us some of the things that were going on. I mean, like, I'm sure some people were wilding out.
Oh yeah.
Some people were very respectful, but like, what kind of scene was it when you? It must be surreal.
Yeah. No, honestly, it was kind of a love fest. Like, people were just having fun.
Bunch of hippies.
People were smoking blunts. People were smoking cigarettes. They were having
smoking
fun.
weed in there.
Oh yeah. People were lighting it up.
They didn't invite me, man.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. It was like a party in there for real.
Did you get a contact guy?
Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
All right.
They do call me Baked Alaska for a reason, but
not anymore. Got to change your name, huh?
Yeah.
See, he's
Sober
clean,
Alaska
fast.
now.
He's clean, sober Alaska.
Yeah. Well,
now.
actually, tomorrow I have to pee in a cup for my parole officer. So yeah.
Tell the
gotta
PO
stay
to
clean.
sniff it. You're good. You're good, bro.
But yeah, no, I've been sober for about 5 years. I used to be a stoner. That's where I got the name. I'm from Alaska and all that. But
What part?
From Anchorage, Alaska.
Anchorage, Alaska. There's more bears in Alaska than people, correct?
Pretty much, yeah.
What's it like living in Alaska? Is it like a day all like 23 hours and then night 23 hours?
Yeah. So in summer, it's actually there's like 23 hours of daylight. So it's only like dark for 1 hour. You got to have really thick blinds, really thick blinds, and then in the winter, it's the opposite. So I would go to school at like 8 in the morning, pitch black. Then you go to school and the daylight is during the day. You get out of school, pitch black. So it's just always dark. It messes with your head a little bit.
I don't know
A lot
any.
of it.
I don't know any social media stars from Alaska. Are you like the first one?
I'm the first one. It's me and Sarah Palin.
The 33 life path.
Really?
Now,
Is she?
Yeah, she's born 2/11/1964, and I believe she's the one who gets credit for starting the Tea Party movement, which basically morphed into MAGA.
Yes,
So
it did.
I believe Sarah Palin, the 33, did basically start that. So I guess it's you and her, huh?
Yeah, me and her.
That's interesting, man. Listen, if you can make it out of Alaska, I used to tell people, you can make it out of Cleveland, you can make it anywhere. Fuck that. You make it out of Alaska, you can make it anywhere.
That's true. I had to put it in my name because I was talking to Peyton before the show, and it's like everybody that meets me is like, I've never met anyone from Alaska. That's amazing. So
I haven't met anyone who actually has any clout from Alaska.
Yeah.
You're one of the few exceptions. Okay, let's go back. You take the plea deal.
Yes.
Did you even consider it for a second? You're like, fuck it, give me those, 60 days. Well, you couldn't fucking wait to sign that thing.
Yeah, well, I actually wanted to go to trial for a while, and
You want to take that shit to the box?
I thought about it because I had the video, and I do think I had a good. Well, yes, you're right. The Capitol was closed technically, but I'm also a content creator, and I'm also following the action. You got to understand, I was shoulder to shoulder with New York Times, CNN, Forbes, you name it.
But they don't get any charges.
I know. That's why I was saying I might have a claim because everyone's got a cell phone now. We are all citizen journalists. If Peyton's down the corner and something crazy happens and she films it, that's the news. So
Let's go viral, girl.
It doesn't. You don't need credentials anymore to be a citizen journalist. It's just whatever you film.
But if you want to get past the FBI, you need to be a Democrat, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, okay. No, it's pretty crazy, and I don't know what's going to happen in these next few years. I think the 24 election is going to be very interesting because we are a nation in decline, and Biden is asleep at the wheel. He's now falling over everywhere.
I don't think he was ever the real president to begin with. I believe Barack Obama was running the whole goddamn kid.
Oh yeah, this is Obama's third term. Yeah, we know that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that changed when Susan Rice left the Biden administration on April 24th, and then Biden went rogue, and that's why you're going to see Obama start cutting his nuts off. Listen, when it comes down to Barack Obama, he runs the Democratic Party, he runs the deep state, he runs everything.
Yep.
And if you don't understand that, then you don't know anything about American politics. We have people behind the scenes who are actually running the show. And if you actually pull up old video, Barack said that's what he wanted to do. He said he wanted a third term, just to have an earpiece. Remember that video?
Yeah.
He wanted to have an earpiece.
Yep,
that's exactly what happened. I think Barack Obama's been pretty successful, don't you think? Unfortunately.
And he has an office right down Washington Avenue.
Course.
Yeah.
The only
with
president,
Valerie Jarrett.
The only president in U.S. history who did not leave Washington, D.C. after his presidency. I wonder why. Someone's got to run the deep state. Someone had to handicap Trump's presidency. That's exactly what happened. All right, brother. Now to some tough questions. I started supporting Trump in 2015. I think I did my part to help him win the state of Ohio in 2016. I went on Michael Savage, said he'd pull the upset win. In 2020, I knew they from him. I said they would do it. After the election, they suspended my account where I said they election from him. You know how the suspended Twitter accounts go. Yep. Me and him have what they combined. Both of our accounts were suspended for a combined 9 years.
That's true.
Oh my God.
9 fucking years. Me and him. They got him a year before me.
Yep.
So I mean, hell, you get before me. That's hard, bro. You got to put in work for the fucking powers to be that hate you more than me. You put in work, brother.
Yeah.
You put in work.
I did. I did my 40 days in the desert, but I am now back on Twitter. Thank you, Elon Musk, and Kick.
When'd you get your account back?
I got it back. Okay, this is actually funny. This is some meme magic that I don't think I told you about. So Elon Musk, did you know about this? He tweeted a photo of me saluting the McDonald's flag, which is like a famous meme of mine. And he tweets out this meme.
Post it.
Okay, I got a lot of things to post.
Yeah, you definitely do.
I got to go through all the.
And give everyone your Twitter account, by the way.
Yes, it's Baked Alaska on Twitter. Just Baked Alaska on Twitter, one word. But so Elon Musk tweets out this photo of me, and then like a couple hours later he deletes it, and all these articles come out. They're like, oh my gosh, like Elon supports this white supremacist Baked Alaska, but obviously not true. But the liberal media is freaking out and all this. And then a week later, boom, he unbans me. So Elon,
Nice.
What's up, buddy? Don't be afraid. We can be friends. You can come hang out in Sunny Isles with me and Gary. We can.
Elon is a good capitalist, and I think he understands if he wants people on his platform, he needs to basically start giving people freedom of speech to a point. Now, I used to be one of those guys about 10 years ago. I don't believe in what you're saying, but I'll die for your right to say it. No, I don't believe in that anymore. Those days are over. I believe that cancer has to be eradicated. If you have cancer cells in your body, your white blood cells are going to go start attacking that shit, as they should. Could you imagine cancer cells saying this is racist? Or you can't do this. This is discrimination. We need to start dealing with cancer with exactly what they are. We need to start calling out these rainbows, is what I call them. We need to start calling out all these institutions that support them, and we basically need to put the family unit back together. And one thing I do know, no matter what people say, the pendulum always swings. And it seems to me, at least to me, that in 2023, people are a little bit more vocal and a little bit more pushing back against that woke agenda. And I gotta be honest, I haven't seen such pushback since 2016 when Trump became president. So people are actually pushing back. And how do you know this? These woke organizations like Nike, the Air Force, they had their little flag on June 1st, even Major League Baseball. June 2nd, it was gone.
Yep.
They had that much pushback that was gone on June 2nd. And I got to tell you something. This is real now. This is real because these companies now understand that, you know what? We can get hurt. Like, for instance, I did a podcast here with Malik Obama about 2 weeks ago. We basically said election fraud was real. They banned the podcast.
Oh, really?
They banned it, but they just overturned their decision.
Yeah. I saw
Now
that.
you're allowed to talk about election fraud in 2020. But why did they do that? They did it because, number one, they have competition, Rumble. And by the way, these videos will be on Rumble. And as a thank you for Rumble for pushing on YouTube, their bottom line was down 2.6%. That had everything to do with them overturning their decision. Because if you want to piss people off, piss off shareholders. They don't give a fuck what you say. They don't give a fuck what anyone say. They care what their shareholders think. And that's how you fucking bend them over, with the fucking shareholders. By the way, pun intended for Pride Month. Mwah. Anyways,
You're right. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about, you never trusted the government before. How much less trust do you have for them now?
Well, I basically think everything that I said before is just vindicated, and even like,
Oh, you mean that conspiracy theorist shit?
Yeah. Well, all it's funny. All the things they say were conspiracy theory. Well, exactly like you said. I was literally banned for exact, phrases or policies or conspiracy theorists that ended up getting reversed and becoming true. I was against the.
You're not.
Hell no. I will not take that bullshit.
All I'm going to tell you is sleep well knowing that some of the people who took you to jail unjustly got and they might have taken 60 days away from you. They're going to took a lot more away from their lives.
Yeah.
And again,
Did you see Jamie Foxx?
yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
Jamie Foxx is paralyzed and
But you're a conspiracy theorist. It's not because of the talking about.
What are they saying it's from?
I mean, Peyton's a
saying-
health expert. Do you believe in the?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. No one here believes in the. No one here believes in your bullshit in the government. They literally tried to kill us.
yeah.
I want
It
people
was
to
obvious.
understand this. They
Yeah.
literally tried to kill us. Now, maybe they didn't put a gun to our heads, but they're literally trying to kill us a slow death. The only solace I have for the people who took the is I know for a fact that the is effective at putting people in the ground as they wanted it to, they probably wouldn't need boosters.
Oh,
So the fact that they put boosters out there tells them that the original probably isn't gonna kill if that's all you got. If you got boosters, you're fucked. I mean, you're
real
done.
fun. Yeah,
You're done.
Well, that's what happened with some of these people. So Jamie Foxx is now partially paralyzed and blind, which is very sad.
Oh, so he's actually Ray Charles. Remember
Yeah,
he played?
he did.
Life
did
imitating
play-
art imitating life.
He did play Ray Charles. The sad
He
thing,
manifested it, Peyton.
the sad thing is he didn't want to take it, but he was forced. They said they weren't gonna let him be in a movie.
I don't feel bad for him.
But honestly, he shouldn't have done it.
I
Still,
don't feel bad for him.
yeah.
Because I've said this many times. I actually convinced NBA players not to lie about it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say, no, fuck this, I'm not taking it. Be quiet. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
Don't grab any attention. When you go into the doctor's office, make sure you got 10 bands on you.
Mm-hmm.
Throw that 10 bands on and say, please give me my. And that's what that worked.
Yeah.
You're telling me Jamie Foxx, worth $170 million, couldn't do the same thing?
He could.
He could have. So
Yeah.
I don't feel bad. You know who I feel bad for, Peyton? The 5-year-old kid, the 6-year-old kid who trusted in their parents, who trusted in their guardian, and their guardian believed the propaganda and told them to take the. Now their life is somewhat fucked up, if
Yeah.
not completely over. That's who I feel bad for, because those kids didn't have a choice. Other people did. You know, it's the biggest psyop in world history. January 6th is one of them,
Yep.
but on a whole
I think it's
different
the
level.
worst. I think it's
Oh
the
yeah,
worst.
much worse.
What are
much
they
worse.
saying he got sick from? 'Cause they're not saying-
Well, no. This is internal. He basically has shut himself off from the world. But internal stuff came out through TMZ, I believe, a few days ago that said, I believe it was the AstraZeneca. Went like he just had a terrible reaction to it.
Oh, they're actually saying they're giving credit to the. Oh.
Yeah, because it
Wow.
happened. It happened right after that. So, well, no, the mainstream news is trying to bury it. This is coming out on podcasts and from people that know the family, etc. But the whole, myocarditis. The FDA had to take several down from. Oh wait, these aren't fully approved and all of this.
You know what I think about that? Because they basically had three main America that what do you call it? Pfizer, Moderna,
Johnson and
Johnson & Johnson. Now they pulled Johnson & Johnson because they said it was the causing myocarditis and stuff like that. This is what I believe. I believe that Johnson & Johnson wasn't putting enough people on the ground.
Probably, yeah.
I believe that Johnson & Johnson actually killing enough people because it was a 2-shot. So they said, you know what, fuck this shit. We're going to say this one is actually not killing people when it's actually doing the least effective job of killing the people. Let's go money into Pfizer's and Moderna's pocket.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, and by the way, all these influencers, don't think we forgot about you. all
push the
these
vax, yeah.
people who push the Arnold Schwarzenegger, whole bunch of you guys. Notice how I comment about the pig first, right? Notice how I go after the pig first, right? There's gonna come a time where you're gonna have to answer for your crimes. You know, I've said this many times. In 1946, they had something called the Nuremberg trials, and they had that for Nazi war criminals. Now, obviously, Zionism, Nazis, we know what's going on, but at the end of the day, they were bad people who did bad things. And because they had the Nuremberg trial, every dictator who's been in power since 1946 has recognized if I go too far, I might go to The Hague.
Right.
I might go to Geneva and get tried. So in the past 40, 50, 60, 80 years, the dictators who've come in power, they didn't go full. They held back. And that saved people's lives.
Yeah.
We need to make the same precedents because, in 1918, when they had the Spanish flu, same stuff was happening. Make people wear the masks. They didn't have technology back then, but this time they did. And they violated people's civil rights. They violated people's economic rights. This is basically economic terrorism.
Oh, yeah. They shut down so many businesses.
And when I look at this, people in the future, when the next comes, they need to understand that if they go too far, there's going to be consequences. And this is how we defend our bloodlines. This is how we defend our future grandkids and great grandkids. We set an example now. And these politicians who mandated these people who push the false narrative, they have to be held accountable. And if they're held accountable in 2025, then in 2125, when we might have the next pandemic, the future leaders of them might be like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't push this far because some of those people were executed who abused their power. The example, the precedent has to be set. And the reason it has to be set is because this is how society evolves. We basically have to make the corrections of our past to make sure our kids grow up in a much more just society. Because, I always tell people, you can't change the world. No one's going to be able to change the world by themselves. What you can do is make the world a better place than you entered into it. At least that's what I look for.
Baked, why didn't you get the...
I didn't get the because I just I knew it was sketchy, I guess. Like, okay, so
healthy mistrust in the government.
Yeah, I mean, I've sort of like, okay, I sort of was red pilled when 9/11 happened, and like,
me too.
I saw the planes go into the towers. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
You were red pilled at 14?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went on. This was before YouTube, but I would go on these different forums. And I found some Alex Jones videos saying, "Oh, this is a conspiracy."
It always goes back to him, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is in 2001. So I was like, "Holy shit!" So I started listening to Alex Jones, and I'm like, "I think this is all fake." And I didn't go so crazy where I'm like, it was actually laser beams. And no, like I'm just like, I think that this was an inside job. I think that there's more to the story than we're seeing on the mainstream news.
Yeah.
Which obviously that's all come out now. RFK just said literally the CIA killed his uncle. He admits it. This is all out in the open now. So
organization founded in 1947, Year of the Pig, kills a president who was born in 1917, Year of the Snake, enemy signs.
Wow.
And it was called the Bay of Pigs. Again, if you're any snake president in the future, I don't think you want to think something called the Bay of Pigs if that's your enemy side.
That's crazy.
It is what it is. Listen, Kennedy said he was going to destroy the CIA in a million pieces, and they took him out on 11/22/1963. And what did Lyndon Johnson do as soon as he took power? He reversed Executive Order 11110, which basically stripped the Federal Reserve the right to print and coin money. But, most people listening to this don't even know what the Fed is. They don't even know what the Fed does. But they know what Taylor Swift is eating for breakfast.
Yeah.
They know exactly what's going on in Britney Spears' life.
She's single, by the way. So,
okay.
Taylor, hit me up, Baked Alaska on Twitter. I am also single. Just throwing that out there.
Good game, bro.
I want to tell you about why I didn't take the... Ask you. I have a question about the Titanic because I feel like you probably know this. Connects with the Federal Reserve, but I didn't take the vax because I haven't trusted the government for a very long time. When first hit, this is the funny thing. The first week of, I wore a mask. And I was the only person.
Me too.
I was the only person.
I just said that story too.
Because I took it seriously. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, for all I know, the government just released some like AIDS, through the air or whatever.
Fauci's good at that. Dr. Fauci's good at that. We're all going to be flying
monkeys around here or some shit. Yeah, we don't know. So I'm like, oh shit. I wore an N95. People were laughing at me. I was the only person. And guess what? And then like a week went by and I like kind of figured out everything, read the temperature. I'm like, oh, this is all bullshit. I took it off. Yeah. Then everybody else put on a mask.
Yes,
and then I was the only one, and people would be like, put on a mask. And I've always been big for human rights, civil rights, and that was a reason that my streams actually went extremely viral in 2020, because it was during the everybody said, you can't make content, everything's shut down. I said, fuck that. I'm going IRL. I went on the road. I made a ton of content. I got tens of thousands of live viewers before
Fuck the system.
Before on DLive, before my account got banned on January 6th. But I guess
it's strange sitting this next to someone who's been canceled more than me.
Yeah, that's hard, right?
That you gotta put it in work.
I feel like I'm one of the first persons to be canceled, because that's the popular thing. That, have you noticed a lot of things we were saying 5 years ago are now becoming mainstream?
Oh, yeah.
Andrew Tate, all these people.
Everyone knew this stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone knew all this stuff was happening.
Yeah. But now it's the popular thing to talk about it, which is pretty crazy. So
what about that term, matrix? I used to use that term about 15 years ago. Whoa, has that caught on? As a matter of fact, our friend Mr. Tate never used that term until he talked to me.
Well, yeah, I was telling you before the show too, me and Andrew Tate got out of prison on the same day, March 31st, which is also the day that The Matrix was released in theaters. A lot of weird coincidences, but
very interesting.
But I did want to ask you real quick, because I've been hearing this. Did you know that on the Titanic, there were the richest man in America was on there, and a bunch of people that basically were opposing the Federal Reserve.
I didn't know that.
The Titanic was an inside job.
Yes, it was. So what happened was the Titanic was basically sunk in 1912 because a guy by the name of Mr. Uster, who was against the Federal Reserve, he owned 40% of the mortgages. Could you imagine what kind of gangster you have to be?
Like Mr. Monopoly.
Yeah, the type of gangster you have to be to own 40% of all the mortgages in the United States of America. So this is no good guy. This is a gangster, okay? Yeah. But he was such a strong figure that the Rothschilds just couldn't put an axe into him, couldn't put a bullet in him. They got to start a war.
Yeah.
So they can't do that. So they built a ship, and they made sure all the most important people were on this ship. And at the very, very last minute, J.P. Morgan and all of those guys exited the ship. The ship sinks. Mr. Ustin basically dies. All the money that he was funding the politicians on the other side dries up. All of a sudden, the politicians run to the other side. 1913, they go to Jekyll Island. They finish the deal. The Federal Reserve is basically born. And the guy who signs the Federal Reserve into power, Woodrow Wilson, was born on the 28th. So they did everything on purpose. And the Federal Reserve, after they got the Federal Reserve in 1913, now they had the money they needed to start World War I in 1914. So it goes from this: Titanic, Fed, World War I, and World War I leads to World War II. So again, all of Europe, everything was decided by what would happen on that ship. But most people don't know that.
I've never heard of this before.
Most people just know.
And I know a lot about these conspiracy things. I've never heard this.
Most people don't know about this, but they know that Leonardo DiCaprio was on the Titanic.
Yep.
They know that part.
That was the real story, right?
That was the real story. Let me tell you something. Titanic, I will admit this as a guy, even if it makes me seem soft. I will admit the first movie I ever cried in was Titanic. I will admit this. And I'm going to tell you the part I started crying. At the very end, when this broad had that $10 million gem and she threw it in the ocean, I started crying, okay? That's what got me. Like, damn, girl, for real? Wow. It is what it is. Baked, maybe you should change your name because you're not actually smoking anymore, right?
Sober Alaska.
So Sober Alaska, after going through all this experience, what advice do you have to people out there who could have trouble with the federal government as well? You've went through this. You've been harassed by the government. You've been treated unfairly. But at the end of the day, that's what happened. What advice would you have to other people who might be going through this? Or there's other people right now who are still getting locked up for this stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think about the phrase, I believe it's in the Bible, that with much is given, much is required. And I understand that there's sort of a two-tier justice system going on. And a lot of people say like, wow, we have to be better. And it's like, yes, you know, it is what it is, but we do got to be better. So is it fair? No. Is it just? No. What I would say is to you got to be very careful with what you're doing. Do not trust the feds. Do not trust any law enforcement. Do not talk to them unless there's a warrant or, you know, something that's absolutely required. But you just got to be very careful, because you could walk in a situation where you're going to a peaceful protest. Next thing you know, you're serving 20 years in federal prison.
Oh my God.
For a non-violent crime. I'm telling you.
Welcome to America.
They trapped people. I think January 6th was a big honeypot. Like, what? Obviously, yes, there was people there for real causes, and I was so passionate that day, and you were, and so many other people were, and we believed in, you know, we wanted a fair election. That's it. Hey, if Joe Biden actually won, fine. I say give it to him. I don't believe he actually won.
I don't believe Joe Biden got 81 million votes. I don't believe Joe Biden. I've offered Barack Obama, again, this is chump change to him, 100K, take a lie detector test, one question. Do you believe Joe Biden legitimately got 81 million votes and you only got 69? I want to ask Barack Obama that question, because there's no way in hell Joe Biden got 81 million votes. It's basically lunacy. No one voted for this man. No one went to this man's rallies. It's a plain joke. And here's the thing: a lot of you guys are like, "Oh, this doesn't matter. This doesn't affect me." Have you been to the grocery store? Have you seen the sky high inflation? All the money that the money laundering operation they're running in the right now. Mm-hmm. This is money laundering operation, and the fact that they're going after people like this, or someone who smoked a cigarette in Nancy Pelosi's Congress. Man, fuck you, bitch. That's what I got to say about that, man. These people are absolutely... Nancy Pelosi might be the best day trader in world history. How the fuck she turns 50K into 250 million is, I mean,
I think she had a little inside info, possibly.
Oh, maybe. You mean with her homosexual husband, who gets hit by a hammer by his gay lover?
I saw
and
that.
Then they say, and then they say the guy's MAGA when he's actually a liberal who hates Trump. Mm-hmm. Interesting how the news always covers up things for the Democrats, but yet for the Republicans, the only way we're gonna find out is we have to listen to you, listen to me, listen to the new media.
Right.
It's unfortunate. Last thing I want to cover with you is, you're a Christian man here.
Yes.
Do you believe in turning the other cheek?
I do. I do believe that there's a verse in Proverbs that says, "Do not repay evil with evil. Do not repay insult with insult." So I do believe that. I know you love revenge because we talked about that at dinner.
Let me ask you this.
But I do. But let me just finish. I do believe, you know, there's times in society, like, you know, if you're at war and you get, you know, you go off to war. Of course, there's certain circumstances where violence, you know, would be acceptable. Or people use the example of David versus Goliath. Well, technically, David killed this big mobster. There was this giant, you know, terrorizing this whole village. Okay, well, that was a righteous way of doing things. Okay. So I believe there's a righteous way of sort of, you know, defeating evil, because I think we should call out evil. We should expose evil. We should do what we can to take evil down. Absolutely. I just believe that as a Christian, I believe that, you know, ultimately it's in God's hands. Like, just because I'm like, oh, that person's evil, I can't go murder them. That would be wrong.
Does that apply to pedophiles?
Well, I believe in the death penalty for pedophiles. Okay. I think we should legally do that.
What about rapists?
I think it depends on the case, because there's many cases where...
Not statutory rape, bro. I'm talking about when someone actually...
If it's actual,
it's actual rape.
I mean, that's very, very bad.
If a woman makes up a rape charge, should she face the same punishment that the guy should have had?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, Trump talks about this. Trump believes that we should possibly do death penalty for drug dealers because people are you didn't see the fentanyl?
Fentanyl is different. That's
Well,
not,
yeah.
that,
No,
that,
I'm not.
that-
I'm not saying I'm not saying for a weed dealer, but
I really hope people aren't talking, some little drugs and they want a death penalty for that. But,
No,
for
not for that.
heroin, for
fentanyl, things that are killing people.
Yeah,
and the reason he said it is because in China they have a very strict like zero tolerance policy, and what happened is people just stopped.
They're shipping all the fentanyl over here.
They're shipping it here, but people just stopped dealing drugs in China because they said, we catch you once with fentanyl, death penalty. Boom. And then people stop. So
I support that.
I'm saying that, I don't know if it needs to go that far. I don't really know. But I do believe pedophiles should get the death penalty.
Okay, so there is a point where you don't turn the other cheek as a Christian.
Well, doing it through the justice system is the correct way. You're not taking it into your own hands.
Well,
so
there's certain people like Jeffrey Epstein who are too powerful for the justice system to actually handle. As a matter of fact, Muammar Gaddafi, the former leader of Libya from 1969 to 2011, he had so much money. He had basically $500 billion. He would actually fund pedophile hit squads to go after people who were too powerful. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think he was doing God's work, in all honesty.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So again,
I would agree.
There is a point where even as a Christian, you say that turn the other cheek, maybe not the right philosophy. Maybe we have to start looking at an eye for a tooth, correct?
I think if we can, heavy question. I think if we can do things, with charity, if we can do things righteously, I do think there are certain situations where, yes, I mean, and by the way, turn the other cheek doesn't mean there's no justice. Jesus flipped over tables. He went in the temple, said, "What is going on?" He whipped people. So it's just saying that you need to pick your battles. If someone goes up to you and says "F you" on the street, is that really worth possibly going to jail or possibly catching a charge? No.
It depends.
It depends who it is.
It depends if they say bitch then or not. I'm just kidding, man. Listen.
You know what I mean.
I have no problem with the religious people because at the end of the day, I'd rather deal with religious people than rainbows.
Yeah.
Okay. But let's be honest. If I was living in the 1600s, I'd probably be hung for being a heretic.
Possibly.
So again, I look at myself as a very conservative man. If I go back to the 1600s, I'm probably the liberalist thing in the world. Right. So there's also a proper balance. There's also that pendulum, and the best thing to do is to find that sweet middle spot. One of the things I always like to talk about is unions. Unions were very, very necessary in the 1920s, 1930s because the rich people were abusing their workers. Now, if you go back to the 90s, all of a sudden those same unions are having people sit in the bathroom for 2 hours getting paid, and there's nothing someone can do about it because they have tenure. So again, it swung too far. The best thing to do is to have that natural middle. Does that make sense to you, Peyton?
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, no, I think the pendulum does swing back and forth, and I am super glad that, a couple years, well, here's the other thing. Barack Obama was against gay marriage when he ran.
No, he was always a homosexual. So
well, I know, but the popular thing at the time was anti-gay marriage. Yeah. And then this whole gay revolution, and now every brand has the rainbow flag constantly.
My favorite thing about Obama was when he said he didn't change his mind. He said his opinion evolved. I'm like, wow, what a slick character.
He has a transgender opinion.
Yeah,
that's
he's
a
got
good,
a little bit more than that.
Good PR for sure. But I am happy that things are swinging the other way. I saw like people are actually pushing against this stuff.
Yes.
Like even the Bud Light thing. I know that's sort of a normie conservative point, but I'm happy because I was told as a conservative, oh, we don't boycott. Boycotts don't work. I'm like, no, conservatives have just never taken it seriously and had the consistency to actually do a boycott until Bud Light. Now, with the social pressure, they've made Bud Light so uncool and so cringe that if you're holding a fucking Bud Light, you're going to get bullied. And that's good. Because like you said, the shareholders are gonna hurt. And now Bud Light is terrified. And all the other brands are too. MLB, oh my gosh, people are gonna stop coming to games. They had to change the pride flag from their logo, and that is good. So I think the more that we can continue to pressure these people hard, we have to hold people accountable. If they're not hurting in their pocketbooks, they don't care. They really don't.
They say you vote with your dollar.
Yeah, exactly. Vote with your dollar. That's real. And even, in the streaming world, Kick is doing amazing things. Twitch is losing people every single day because they're so greedy. And like Gary was saying, it's amazing. We got places like Kick and Rumble and all these new technologies. And like you said, YouTube had to say, oh shit, we got to reverse our policy, because now if they want to talk about the vax or this or that, they can just go on Rumble. They can just go on these other sites, and they're losing too many people. So,
Makes sense.
I think that's good.
Okay. So we're getting about the top of the hour. Let's wrap this up. Peyton, how do people get a hold of you? How do people find you? Let them know.
You can find me on Twitter at Peyton Elroy, and you can click on my website link and book me through there if you want to have a health consultation. And that's the best platform. And
she also does numerology readings, guys. Next, tell us how to find you on all the platforms you haven't been suspended from.
Yes, and we do need to have a health conversation.
Absolutely.
And when we have time, I love the health stuff. I was telling her I lost 45 pounds before prison, and then I gained most of it back because the food is terrible. Oh man.
Yeah.
Terrible prison food. Sorry. Anyways, you can find me on Twitter at Baked Alaska, and also on kick.com and cozy.tv/Baked Alaska. It's pretty much just Baked Alaska everywhere. I'm banned off pretty much everything else, but
again,
I appreciate you having me on.
Very difficult to find a person who's been canceled more than me. So congratulations, brother.
Hey,
you did something very, very hard to do. Anyways, I want to thank you for coming on. Peyton, as always, this has been a GG33 production.